Alrighty, g'day, Stu from UAVFutures. Welcome to Happy Flying, the weekly FPV live stream. I want to just double check my microphone because I had to change the settings. So please let me know in the chat if you can hear this. Is this all working? All those sorts of things. I can see some amazing family members in the chat. Well, I call you guys family members anyway. Johnny DRC, we got Speroni, Everyday with Bruno. Like, it is fantastic. I can see Chris Croft in here as well. So many awesome people I see week in, week out. I'm sure that I'm going to miss some people as well. Thank you. I don't know how to pronounce your name there. The Ox. Is that how we'd pronounce that? Great to see you as well. This is the FPV, a weekly live stream. We talk about all things FPV. We're going to be talking a little bit about mental health as well. We got some more, I guess, discussions about DJI, and I want to give some advice around that situation if you are based in America. I am so pumped to talk about wings, and I think you can see I've got a couple behind me. We're going to be talking about this as I drop some things on the ground with this bad boy as well. So that's the Chupito from TBS. Yes, I went out, flew a few packs with it yesterday. It was amazing. So we're sort of going to be talking a bit about that, doing a bit of a pre-review, showing you some flights and just generally talking all things wings. I want to show you some motion control stuff, a little bit of a chat about INAV. Of course, we're going to be answering your questions. We will be talking about the simulator Warhawk, which I recently released a video on. And I do like that they changed their name a little bit as well. And of course, if you have any questions, if there's anything that you want me to check out, or what have you been flying? Like if there's a new product, you're like, hey Stu, can you please give me your thoughts on this? Or you just want to know some information, throw that in the comments down below. Or if you don't have a question, just let me know. What was the last thing you went and flew? Like right now, type out. I had a great weekend flying. And I want to know, did any of you guys get out there and go for a fly as well? Or do you wish you were flying? Were you stuck indoors and just sort of hanging out? Maybe the weather was terrible where you are. We've got some new drone designs. And then I do want to talk a little bit about 3D printers. So if you have some expertise in 3D printers, that would be very handy. Maybe I'll have to get some information off you as well. And then, yeah, generally we all are just going to be hanging out. But let me know, have you gone flying? Did you fly this past week? If so, what was it? Or are you just sort of watching FPV flight videos, wishing that you had more time and the weather was a little bit better so you could get out there and go for a rip? All right, thanks for people saying looking good, sounding great. Or sorry, sounding good, looking great. Thank you very much. My new fresh haircut. Johnny DRC is saying he downloaded his first AR wing in Discord. Do you mean like a profile for it or something? I'm not too sure what you mean by downloaded there, Johnny DRC. And the Ox is saying reconfiguring my 3D printer profile as I watch. Okay, so we might have to get a little bit of help when it comes to me picking a 3D printer. It's something that I've been watching more and more. I do have a very, very old 3D printer, but it is almost 10 years old at this point, and it was always such a muck around to get working and trying to print nicely. And it looks like the ones today just like do everything for you. You can just press one button. And I'm a lazy guy, or I like to say I'm an efficient guy. And I'm pretty sure that has to do with what I want to talk about here. So this is, we always start our segment off like this. If you are new, we are going to jump in. We are going to talk about drones. We are going to have fun. I'm going to show you some really, really cool FPV products and some features I bet you might not have ever seen before. But we always start this off with a bit of a discussion about mental health because it's really important to me. FPV totally changes people's lives and has such a positive, profound impact. And when I started this channel, when I started making drone content, it was because, like we all know, these drones are absolutely amazing. But over the decade that I have done this, I have understood why I am so passionate about making content for other people. Because it doesn't help me be a better pilot out here. The enjoyment I get is knowing that people are going to be using these videos to get out, enjoy this hobby, and ultimately have like a better, just your life is better with FPV and your positive mental outlook and all those things is just a million times better with FPV. So being able to share that message is really, really important. And on the flip side of that, if you are somebody who is struggling with mental health, FPV is an amazing hobby sport to get into. It's going to get you outdoors. You're going to meet new people. You're going to learn new skills. It is so fulfilling. And if you are on the fence and you're watching and deciding, oh, is this what I want to do? Yes, we have an amazing community and amazing just FPV group of people and the people here in this chat as well. It is incredible. Put it in the comments right now. Has FPV improved your life? Not your wallet, in your life. Is your quality of life better when you look at everything that FPV has done for you? And mine is leaps and bounds better. And if you are the person who maybe you are into FPV, but there's still other things going on in your life, I would also like to say it is okay it's not weak to speak and go and get help. I've suffered from some depression in the past. This was about 5 years ago, and I still remember what it was like. And a bit of an insight, my wife actually said this morning, do you remember this? And I didn't realize how affected it actually, like how for a while bad it was for me. And there is a period in my life when I was really, really depressed that my wife will tell me many events, and it is almost like I have no, oh no. Are we still good? It's like a period in my life where I have no recollection of these events or these discussions or anything like that. So that was it's kind of wild to think, wow, that's how bad it was for me. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to speak about it and be on the other side of it and encourage other people to not feel alone. And it's not just them, and to not feel isolated, and to welcome them into a community, because mental health, I'm a big believer in it. And if that is you, I would just like to let you know that you are cared about, you are valued, you are unique, and I'm really grateful that you're here. And please, you can reach out to me or just be part of the community. And I promise you, it is better when we're connecting with other people and being part of this community, and also too opening up to like some professionals. That's something that I really, really strongly advocate for as well. It's not weak to speak. If you broke your leg, you'd go to the doctor. If you broke your brain, so to speak, or it's just not working properly, and my brain was definitely broken, go and speak to somebody. So okay, let's see. I'm gonna catch up on a couple of comments. That is a lot of alliteration right there. Say that 10 times fast. And then we're going to jump in. I'm going to talk about some DJI and some wing stuff as well. Chris Croft is saying, stop looking at reviews, get a Bamboo Labs printer. Don't waste time with other printers unless you want to spend all your time making it work instead of printing. Bamboo just works. Johnny D's excited about the Chupito, and he's thinking of a baby AR wing. I think you've already got a baby AR wing though. Johnny DRC, the guy that talk about this guy saying that DJI is coming back. Who's saying that? Okay, and get a flashback from karate. And then Kiz actually saying he's been struggling a bit. A lot of FPV drama in the UK, which has affected me. I took a step back, seeked help, and now I'm feeling 100% better. Yeah, this is... I'm glad that you are feeling better, Kiz. Kiz is an absolute legend. I wish I could give him a little heart or something right here. This is one of the problems too when people talk about like a lot of the negatives. Often, like when you're talking about news cycles and things like that, and I'm just about to talk about like some of the things with DJI. We're also going. I'm realizing I need to also talk about some of the positive things of like these are still our other options, and we can often get caught up in a lot of the regulations and feeling down about it. But then on the flip side, just forgetting the amazing things that FPV does for it. So sorry to hear, Kiz, that you had to take a bit of a step back from FPV. Are you still flying around at home? Let me know, because I feel this is another one for me. Sometimes there's a lot of pressure to make content, and there is a lot of a big workload. But when I remember what FPV is, which for me is just flying around with my friends, or even just flying around in the house here, or Stickman Steve's over and we're having a few like little 1S packs, little whoop races and things like that, it's always a good time. So sometimes just putting the camera away and just flying for fun, or putting the big race events or the official meetups or anything like that to the side, and just flying these little toys around is reminds me why I love these flying little robots. Johnny DRC says, I broke my brain years ago. Okay. Let's continue. I'm going to talk about DJI right now, and I'm just going to answer Luke's question. He says, hey, does anybody know if there's a way to display the DJI power output on the OSD. Do you mean your voltage? What do you mean by power output right there? That would be handy. So yes, you can display your voltage in your OSD. It needs to be connected to your flight controller though. Your battery voltage, if that's what we're talking about. All right, and we got Jeff in the chat as well. Big shout out to him, and huge shout out for all his work on DIY FPV. Everybody who is putting content on DIY FPV, thank you so much. Thank you for your discussions, being part of this community, people writing reviews and leaving comments and connecting with other people on the map using the messaging system. It is great to know, like, I have put a lot of work into building DIY FPV. That's this website right here. And we have put so many hours into building this, and just to see you guys using it and getting something out of it and pilots connecting, it's great, because this is the drone website that I always wanted. And if you're into FPV, you need to go to DIY FPV. But just it's incredible. And please, don't ignore this number, but I've got a little notification bell up here, 1,115. I haven't clicked on that ever. I go into a different place to find my notification because I like seeing that right there. I like that number there. So although I do have to respond to this little message somebody sent me, but obviously I'm not gonna do that in this live stream. So yeah, go check out DIY FPV, and a shout out to Jeff as well, because he is absolutely putting some amazing content on here, sharing some things. Let's see if I go over to discussions. Oh, look at this. He's got last post 50 minutes ago. Got some really, really cool flights. So if you want to share your flights, head over to DIY FPV. All right, now DJI, this is what we were talking about. Let me have a look. So I have seen a lot of people, we always talk about DJI and what's going to be happening with it in the States, and a big part of this hobby is USA based, and sometimes we can feel like we get a bit caught up in that. The rest of the world is in a much better place when it comes to getting DJI products. They can still be a little bit scarce, and I think some of that will be that the normal supply might be getting poached, for lack of a better word, by some savvy US customers that are happy to pay some import tariffs or try to get it shipped or anything like that, so they'll order from other sites all around the world. I know Phaser FPV, he has said many times he's had to ship a lot of USA customers out from Australia because they're so desperate to get some DJI products. But what was I talking about? Yeah, but for the USA, it's not looking good, and this is just for USA customers, and I'm going to talk about what those people can do. But I've also seen some discussions, and I think it was from Fly High, who's one of our partners on DIY FPV. Some people have been saying that owner is going to be getting some DJI products in stock. And I think, now I could be paraphrasing here, I really need to double check that. So if we see him in the chat, I'll have to let me know, or I'll put a little show note or something in the description. How can one vendor in the States get DJI products when other stores like Get FPV or Race Day Quads, Pyro Drones, some of those major stores don't have their FPV products or their DJI products in stock? What is going on there? Is it just like some things are going to be coming into stock soon in like 30 days or not? I think the reason why Fly High might be getting some stock, this is like, I guess, a bit of a plug for them, but I think they are actually flying to China, putting some DJI 04 Air units in their backpack, in their luggage, and then flying and bringing them home, which is completely different to, I guess, a traditional business sense when we just order some things and it comes in a shipping container or it comes on air freight or whatever and goes through customs that way. I think they want to get some DJI 04 Air units for their customers, so they're actually making the trip over to the States to bring them back and sell them. And obviously, look, you're probably still going to have to pay your tariffs and all that sort of stuff, but if you can't actually get the customs clearance through shipping places and people to do that and the logistics, one way to try and get things is to actually head over to where they're manufactured and say, hey, can I buy some of these? Now, I don't know the arrangements or anything like that. This is I don't know if it's a rumor, but this is from my memory of things that I think people have been talking about. So maybe we'll get some clarification around that in the future. It does not mean, though, if you are in the States and you want to fly DJI, I wouldn't be holding your breath that there is going to be a big surplus in like 30 days or anything like that. This feels like a very one-off, isolated situation of a store owner wanting to do something to support the DJI pilots. I don't think it's going to be around for the other places. But look, I could be wrong. Maybe that could change, you know? I hope it changes. Now, something you can do, here's my advice. If you are coming into the hobby today, and a lot of this is like allegedly, you are correct. Thank you. Something you can do today, if you are a DJI pilot and you are not in the States, don't worry. You're going to have products. You're going to be able to get things. You might have to pay a little bit more in some places, or there might be some longer wait times, or I'm not too sure. It's like if I bought something in Australia, I could get a DJI O4E in it tomorrow. But if you're in the States, it's a different story. And this is where, if you already have DJI gear, number one, take care of it, because it is going to be very expensive, very difficult to get a replacement. Or if you are coming into the hobby, this is where I recommend Caddx. And I can't believe I'm actually going back to my 2024. I was so excited for DJI in 2025. I'm going back to my 2024 recommendation. Stickman Steve still loves Caddx. Caddx is still an amazing system with the avatar system. I really, really like it. Well, there is the third option, which I guess I haven't really spoken about because I don't like the idea of people having to buy twice. And it really sucks. If you own a set of, like, how much is a pair of DJI goggles? Let's have a look at the marketplace right here. I can't talk. I can't type. Cute. Like, here we go. Like, Phaser, all these places, all in stock, but all the USA stores are out of stock. But it sucks. If you own a $560 pair of these goggles right here, it sucks to have to go and buy a new pair just because you want to do some digital FPV. So this is the third option, which is saying, hey, either don't fly or go and get a new system. So I really feel bad for those people who bought DJI and you're in the States, but it doesn't mean that FPV is locked out forever. And if it was me, I would complain. I would be mad. I would be very, very upset at the reasons why I can't fly. And it definitely would change how I act in the future in the decisions on who I'm going to vote for power and all those sorts of things. I'm not going to get into that political discussion, but I would still go out there and buy another system, which is terrible, which I would be very, very upset about. But I love FPV that much that I would still then go and fly Caddx. Now, if that happened to Caddx as well, I don't know what to tell you, but it doesn't look like that. Like if I look at the Caddx stock levels and all those sorts of things, you can get it anywhere. So this is, let's just have a look here. Is it the Moonlight? Is it Moonlight or Moonlight? This is probably this is the kit one. Look at this, in stock. Every single store but two is in stock. So an awesome digital system is still there. So you still have options if you want to do digital FPV. It's just if you are in the States and you own DJI, or you want to fly DJI in the States and you're trying to acquire new gear, that's when it's difficult. It's not the end. It's just a really, really bad, unfortunate situation that I feel quite disappointed that that's the case. And I really, really sympathize with people who, some people might have heaps of cash and that's fine, but I really sympathize to the people that made sacrifices and worked really, really hard and they saved up and they're like, I'm going to really invest in this because I love this hobby. I want to get a set of those $500-600 goggles, and now they can't use them. It actually breaks my heart a little bit thinking about that. So if that is you, I'm really, really sorry that happened to you. This has been an unprecedented time in terms of stock levels and systems disappearing in FPV, and I'm sorry that is the case. All right, I'm going to read a Johnny DRC is saying he loves walk snail. Let's see. Someone, Chris Croft is saying, I saw a proposal for new rules that would make manual control of drones illegal. It would only allow for fully automated drones with no manual overrides. That's insane to me as well. And the problem is, it is like if you are, and here is some non-legal advice. If you are flying somewhere that is safe and it is not annoying people, and there's no one around, I mean, I don't know. That just, you can read into that as you will. And someone's saying, Space Ghost says, I have plenty of backup air units, but worried about my goggles failing. You're probably in a better position than most. And oh no, what's happened? They're listening, guys. They're gonna shut this down. And Frederick says, I've been thinking of going the Walk Snail Goggles X, but I already got my really expensive lens made. Would I have to again for Walk Snail? 120 for my lenses. Oh yeah, we're also going to be talking about glasses and FPV as well. Yes, if you have something that is custom made, I don't have any experience with custom lenses inside like DJI goggles or Walk Snail or anything like that. You're probably going to have to do the same again for the Goggles X. I don't know the modularity between those systems and the custom lenses or anything. Maybe they've got a similar clip you can put them in. I don't know. And Jeff is saying, move to Canada. We'd love to have you guys. Yes. Okay. Dell for Life says, in your opinion, what's the best starter HD drone that can be flown indoors and out, easier to repair, and on the Caddx platform? Well, if we go over here, there is the GoFly, I believe. I think that's what it was called, the Go Film. I'm heading over to DIY FPV. Go Film. So I have flown this. If you're asking about something that is straight off the bat with Moonlight or Caddx in here, this is definitely an option. And I think there might have even been oh no, yeah, this is the latest one, because there was a larger one. I think I just reviewed this. Yeah, probably this. This would be my recommendation. I mean, there is a difference here. Your limiting factor, if you want to get a drone, you can fly indoors and out. You have to understand that an indoor drone is nowhere near as capable as a drone that is suited for outdoor flying. So this right here, just go to DIY FPV and search up the Go Film 20. There's my advice for what I'd fly. Maybe someone else has something else I'd recommend as well. Okay, Jeff is saying, what about wings? That actually is my next topic that I've got on my little show notes right here. Johnny DRC says he's moving to Canada. And Cos1973 says he is recommending the Mobula 8. And Luke, Luke has a comment here. Back to the original question. Does anybody know if there is a way to display the DJI power output? Oh, so you mean the RF power? Is that what we're talking about here? Like the analog R1 700? No, I don't believe so. I don't think so. And DJI, especially on the latest systems, makes it really difficult to know what your power level output actually is and what channels it's on. That's a benefit of the Caddx system, actually, is you can choose the specific output and the specific channel. But when I try to marry that up sometimes with DJI from memory, it's never quite as clear. Sometimes I've wanted to adjust and fly with some other people, and the DJI system's just been like, nah, we're just going to stomp all over them. So no, I don't think you can, Luke, but I could be incorrect. Okay, let's talk about this. So wings, if you want to get into FPV, or you've been flying around FPV for a little while, you've got your first quad, maybe flying a couple of whoops indoors, I cannot recommend enough the absolute game changer that flying a wing is. They are so easy to set up. They are so much fun. And I went out and had a flying session yesterday, actually, with Stickman Steve. The weather, it was perfect, like a beautiful sunny day. There was no wind or hardly any wind when we were ripping these things around. It was amazing. And what I was flying yesterday was this right here. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. Which was this. So I know I've got some wires and stuff hanging out. I should probably just put that all in and clip this in place. This is I really should have routed my cables a little bit better, but this is the TBS Chupito. We've spoken about it a lot on stream. It was so much fun, and I guess as a bit of a pre-review, what I loved was just how well it flew out of the box. Even Stickman Steve was amazed that when I say out of the box, I did have to build it and put it together. But once I threw this in the air, Steve has done a lot more wings and planes than me, and he said he can't believe just how well that flew, and there was so little extra work we had to do before it was flying amazing. And the maiden flight of this wing was gold. Even on the launch, it was super stable, like just, it went exactly what I wanted to do. It was beautiful. I've actually got the launch right here. Let me show you this video. And it's great. Like how much though, if I have a look here, because the prices here, we're going to have to double check. This is just the frame, so it's about $100, or 130 over here in Phaser FPV. I think it's even cheaper if you go to the TBS website. They might have some shipping and tariffs and taxes and all those sorts of things, take that into account. But I had the electronics package, but let me show you my flight. And this is one of the flights. All right. So here's Stickman Steve. He's about to launch it for me. I wonder if this doesn't. Oh, it's not going to record any sound. And then, yeah, just pump the throttle, and we're away. So, yeah, very, very cool things here. I'm just getting used to it, dialing in. We did have a larger battery, so I need to adjust some of the CGs. It looks like it's bobbling around now. I'm just trying some of the different modes and switches and all that sort of stuff. But once, if we jump over here, like, it was very, very cool to fly this around. So, and then I think I chased Steve a few times. He was flying his flick wing. It was awesome. Like, it is so much fun flying a wing, and it gives you a completely different experience. I mean, look at this. Absolutely gorgeous day out over the bay. Just, I cannot recommend it enough. So if you are into FPV, getting a wing really is game changing. It is, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's like if you had an amazing computer and you'd only ever played first person shooting games, and then all of a sudden someone's like, hey, do you want to try some racing games? It's like just opening up a whole new genre basically of fun experiences. The same thing is going to happen with wings. If you love FPV, jump into a wing. It's awesome. They're easy to fly. The Chupito was the easiest one I've ever had to set up when it comes to a flight controller. Just it was heaven. Now you're not going to be able to fly through trees or anything like that, or I guess it's not the same as a quad. It is much more suited to just cruising and having a lot more speed. Like this thing's just, it's going at 100 Ks basically all the time. I was trying to, there goes Steve's little wing in front. I don't know if that's going to be going through right here. So he's that little flick wing down below. And you sort of have to pick your flights as well. It's definitely not as nimble or maneuverable. A totally different flight experience. Just let me know. If you have ever flown a wing before, what one is your favorite one to fly? Or if you have never flown a wing before, what one would you like to try to learn on? So put that in the chat down below. I'll see if I can offer some advice and some things. Look, I came pretty close to this tree right here. There again, just trying to chase Steve. Is this the one? And I'll show you my landing, which I think happens after. Is this our landing run? No, I think this is where I didn't almost get it stuck in a tree, but it was closer than I thought. Like this was sort of intentional, but yeah, that's pretty close. Pretty close for a wing flight, because you have to remember you don't always have that instant control that you can just move and basically reverse out of the way. Johnny DRC says his first was a 900mm wing, and the TBS flight controller is nice. And the Bixler 3 is the easiest for slow flying and good for line of sight training. Yeah, I need to learn some line of sight wings. I think I'm actually interested in flying line of sight wings. Not so much drones, but yeah, wings definitely. And here's that cool little landing. Like you can see Steve down below there coming in for a landing. And then you have my little flight right here. Pop. And then that's the end. That's where the recording stops. So if you are interested, please go check out a wing. I'm going to have a full video on my TBS Chupito review coming out soon. It comes highly recommended, especially after trying to get the Mojito flying and having like that thing is scary and freaks me out and makes me feel unsafe, versus just having this. It's the perfect size. I can bring it around, like just put it on the back of my backpack. I am not going flying without this craft right here. It's always going to be like coming on some flying adventures because it's just so much fun. Other people like to watch it. Like it's just really, really cool. Go and get a wing like tomorrow, whatever it is, the Flick wing, a baby AR wing, the Chupito. If you like FPV, I promise you it is great. But you also need a little bit of space to fly. Think about that as well, because it's not like a little whoop or something. You definitely need some grounds. Having a farm or a field or something makes it a lot easier. A good one though is you need a totally different environment for flying. You often don't want somewhere that is covered with trees, and you want to be clear obstacles, even like a local flying field, where for FPV drones you want to fly through things. I want to go around trees and shoot little gaps and go under branches. I don't want to do that with a wing at all. And Chris Croft says, I hear the glide slope on the Chupito is insane. I think it's okay. Didn't seem too crazy. Nothing like the Mojito, which actually does glide really, really well. Quads are a lot less stick control. Wings are a lot less stress. Quads are lots of stick control. Wings are a lot less stress. Yeah, there is a moment when I am filming and talking to Steve, and I am flying around, and I'm literally like my throttle's in its position, and I'm flying just with left and right and a little bit of pitch. Like it's easy. You can just fly with one hand. And the Bixler is nice because it's a cross between a normal RC plane and a wing. It has a tail and a rudder and flaps, so it's more traditional, but easy to FPV because it has a pusher motor and it's also super cheap. All right. Jeff is saying, do I need to solder anything when it comes to the Chupito? Yes. So I got the full electronics kit. It basically comes with everything you need to get flying. And I did actually have to solder something. It wasn't perfect. And I don't know why Trappy did this at TBS. So in here, what I didn't like is I have mine set up for GPS. It came with it in the electronics package. This cable, and you get a little plug that goes into the flight controller, which is in the middle right here. This is the worst camera position. Hang on. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know. Would you change this? Do you think TBS would change this? Because I have some advice for them in my review. I'll tell it to you guys right now as well. If you're going to give us, and maybe this will change, if you're going to give us a TBS GPS, and you're going to connect it to your flight controller, and you're going to give us the two cables, and you then have to cut the cables and solder the correct wires because this plug doesn't go to this plug. Don't do that. Just give us the correct wire in the first place so I can literally plug that in here, and then it is zero soldering. I think that really, really makes sense. You've given us almost everything else. The other part, I wish they put a little bit of glue in here. So I know TBS sells glue. It's like $6 on their website. If they just included that, like I want the kit that just works. Like I don't have to do any work. If I have to go and buy extra things, it's a little bit more frustrating. And the other thing actually that I would change and I would recommend is in here, I've actually glued my DJI 04 in. I don't like how it's not a snug enough fit for this, for me, with the camera. I was worried about it sliding around and those sorts of things. So I've actually glued mine in with a tiny dab of hot glue to keep it in place. I'll still be able to push it to get it out, but it doesn't make getting your SD cards and that sort of stuff out. I think a better solution would be to have your camera cage at the front here, like it is, and just a tiny little spar that you could thread through and put two little bolts on the outside that would hold your VTX and camera in place. So that's something I would like to change as well. But yeah, it is minimal soldering. It's like 4 wires that you have to basically solder together. And you don't have to fly with a GPS. But if you get the soldering kit and package, I mean the electronics package, you have to do, you have to solder your GPS wire together. That's it. Someone's saying a wing flying is called a yank and bank. Yep. And Jeff says, I'm afraid I'll make a mistake, but if it's just for the GPS. Now it's really easy, and something that I liked because I was looking at the documentation and it's not perfect. It is like if I have to flip over the flight controller on one reference manual, but then on another picture on a GPS wiring, like it's not quite clear what to solder to what, and I didn't like that. It wasn't clearly noted. I wish that if people are getting the electronics package, it says here's the GPS, here's this wire goes to this pad, or this plug means this, because when you plug something into your GPS, you don't know what that wire is coming off because it's an actual plug. It's not going to the pads directly, which the cable would solve if Trappy just gave us that from the get-go. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying, but something I did like is when I plugged it into INAV, INAV actually told me, hey, your TXRX, where it's not working. So on your GPS, there's a bit of it said hardware failure or something, or it couldn't get the hardware configured. I swapped those 2 wires for the GPS, and then INAV was like, yeah, it's working. So it was sort of able to troubleshoot itself. That was with the TXRX anyway. It wasn't with the voltage or ground. If you switch those up, maybe some bad things would happen. Let's see. There's an FC that you can use a plug for GPS, so you wouldn't have to, but have to research which ones have UARTs and plugs. Well, that's what's the beauty about this. It has everything. It's ready to go. There's no soldering needed. It's because the flight controller has a plug. The GPS has a plug. They just haven't given us the cable that goes between the two. They've given us 2 separate cables, and you need to cut the ends off each one and just splice those together in the middle. Okay. Let's see. Now, I actually want to show you INAV because a little tip, this might help some people as well, especially if your servos aren't centered. It can be a little bit frustrating. I was not proficient with INAV, which is why I got Stickman Steve help when I was setting this up. Thank you very much to him. But I have a tip which might save some people. I'm going to chop this part as a little segment, and this is how to set your servos in INAV in about 2 seconds. It's very, very easy. What you'll see, I've got my wing here, the Chupito, and I'm going to plug that into INAV and check this out. Let's see. Hopefully this doesn't make my computer explode. And this is really, really useful because, stop beeping. Sometimes you will see like your wing is ready and it's in a stationary position, but say at rest, or where your servos think is their natural center, one flap might be up a little bit too much, or it's not quite centered, and you don't want to use the trim on your radio to push it down. I'll show you what to do in INAV, and I'm going to open up INAV right here. Because it's a little bit different to Betaflight. Okay. So I've got my wing right here. I've opened up INAV. I'm just going to go down to my outputs, and it was really, really easy. So you can see here, here's my servo range. So all you need to do is come in here. Now, in a perfect world, 1500 would be dead flat and you wouldn't have to do any adjustments. But for me, one servo was a little bit too high, one was a little bit too low. You simply adjust these numbers. You can go in like increments of 5 or 10, maybe 100 if it's really, really off. Type it in here and it will change basically the center level of where your servo is. Really, really useful, really, really easy. Then click save, and then that's it. Your servo is then going to be level. So that's a nice little tip, because you often can't find out exactly where your servos are centered. You don't know how long it's going to be once you like put in the control rods or the control arms or anything like that. Doing this, it's a little tip. It should save you some time, so you don't have to take some things apart or unglue anything if you like tried. It would 0 point. I guess, yeah, that's what, thank you. That's the 0 point using that in INAV. I didn't know that existed. So I'm making this little segment here. Maybe that will help somebody else out there in the future to 0 point their servos in about 2 seconds. Let's see, I'll be able to disconnect. And I'm liking INAV. I'm actually getting into it more and more. I don't like Ardu Pilot. That's just way too complex for me. I feel like that's for people who love Linux. Nothing against Linux. It's just maybe it's for smarter people than me. I need like a really dumb version. Okay. Someone saying I love GPS return to home, saved my time, saved me a couple of times. Yeah, that's another thing that I liked and I tested. When I threw this up, I was nervous because look, it's got my DJI O4 Pro Air unit in here. Like that's something special to me. It's got to be a good craft if I'm going to build it and put in the best video system that I have. And I was like, yep, it's time to test the loiter mode. I flicked it. It worked perfectly. I clicked the return to home mode. It changed paths. It flew overhead from where we took off and just circled. Like it did everything that I wanted it to do. And I have full confidence in this wing now that if I lost video or if I lost my radio or telemetry or anything like that, it's going to fly home, loiter for a while, and I'm going to have the best possible chances of getting it back. Now, it's not going to avoid trees or anything like that. You might need to set up like how high do you want it to loiter, like make sure it's higher than the highest tree, all that sort of stuff. But it's great knowing that this aircraft, it's going to be my daily basher that I'm going to have so much fun with, and I have the best possible chances of getting it back if something goes wrong. So, and the GPS just worked like out of the box. The only thing I couldn't figure out actually was when I changed my mode switches from auxiliary 6 to auxiliary 7, I was never able to get it to go into acro mode for some reason, and I don't know if that's set up in some special user interface as like a user profile. I don't know. I'm going to have to investigate that. That part was a little bit strange. So I just left it on its base settings. When I put it back to 6, it worked. And maybe you guys can help me right now if anybody actually knows, because I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let me look at this. See, we've got INAV ready. What happened is this. Get ready for some INAV shenanigans that maybe somebody in here might be able to offer me some assistance with, because I was interested, and we was just scratching our heads and like it's beyond our pay level. Okay, if I go in here and I go over to my modes tab, right here, if my radio was turned on, when I have a look at flight modes, so this is angle mode when the channel is right here and on channel 7, we're in angle mode, we're on totally manual mode, and when it was in the middle, if my radio was turned on, down here, it's not, is this going to show? Let's see. This little icon would light up, and this isn't actually a mode per se. Well, it's not something you can select. This would just come up and say, hey, I'm in acro mode, which means you've got a little bit of assistance. It's not full manual. It's just going to sort of try to combat what is happening when you're getting bobbled around and that sort of stuff. That would happen when it was on auxiliary 7, But when I switched it over, because I was like, oh, I want to change it and actually put it on this switch. When I put it on auxiliary switch 6, that's all I did was change these two. It would not ever then go into acro mode. So I don't know what that is. And look, and of course, I changed loiter mode and I changed these return to home. I changed all these settings so there was nothing else on auxiliary 6 or channel 6 coming out of the radio. So if you know why that is, please let me know if you've got any suggestions. And we do have, I was thinking that maybe there is something in user 1, which I think is a custom setting coming from TBS. This is always enabled. So maybe that does something that only channel 7 is able to go into acro mode, whereas channel 6 can't. If you know why that is, please let me know. It was just, maybe it didn't stop me flying, but I would have liked to swap. I could have swapped the switches on my radio internally on my radio side too. I just want to have an understanding of what that is. What is manual mode? And that's from Dodgy FPV. Manual mode is like no flight controller assistance. So whatever I do on the sticks, the aircraft is going to do that. And it's not going to try to combat any bobbles or anything like that. So if the plane gets pushed a little bit, it's just going to stay exactly where you left it. However, if it's in acro mode, it does have a tiny bit, just tries to reduce your bobbles. It still responds to exactly what your sticks do, but if, like, say the wind pushes it just a little bit, it's going to try to balance that out just a little bit. And then angle mode is like that, but times 10. This is way more assisted flying, whereas acro mode, it's with, from my understanding, just a tiny little bit of assistance. So I could be wrong in that analogy. Manual is no FC in the loop. Okay, yeah, so sort of like PIDs on versus no PIDs at all might be a good way to explain it. If you're flying around with air mode, you're still running the PIDs on a drone, and the loop is still going, even though it's corresponding to exactly just sort of how you're leaving it with the sticks. Manual is, yeah, just, I guess, just imagine there's no flight controller affecting it at all. So it turns off the gyro. I don't know what the actual internals do, but what I didn't understand was why wouldn't acro mode happen when it was on channel 6? It would only happen here when this is on channel 7. So I don't know if there's a setting, if someone knows. All right. Let's see. Does it have a separate beeper? I really like this too, the USB adapter. So I can easily, this is how I'm plugging it in right here. I'm going to have to unplug this to show you. Check it out though. So if you want to connect up, simply, I really like this, so I don't need to get a little USB in here and adjust some settings. I've got this nice long cable. It makes it really, really easy to connect up to my computer. This is also my buzzer or beeper, so I like that too. Alrighty. Next, I want to show you something pretty awesome. So I'm just looking at the time. I'm going to continue. This was my other plan. Where is... Here it is. Look at this. I have this radio right here. We also tested this. This is the Hello Radio V16. Let me put this over here. Oh, thank you. And yes, okay. Yes. Okay, check this out. Speaking of wings. All right, so is this going to respond? Yeah, you can see here. Now this isn't on the correct model, but it's going to make do. Watch this. I really, really like this. Hello Radio. Hello. Activate motion control. All right, that's enough for you. So that was something that was pretty cool. I was excited to try that. However, we ran into some problems pretty quickly because I want to... Thank you. I'm going to turn this radio off. I did try to fly using some motion control with this. First, I tried on a drone. It was disastrous. Like, I can't think of many use cases where I would want to have motion control, especially in a big radio like this. And the other part, when I set it up, especially for that wing, the reason I couldn't fly with that wing is because that wing has a whole bunch of mixing done in the transmitter because it has no flight controller. That was my baby AR wing. It's only got 2 servos. So you need to mix everything in there to make it work. And it's like a plus 50, minus 50. It's sort of, I do find that part confusing. When I activate the motion control, it doesn't respect that. That mixing that I've done for the pitch and for the roll, or I guess the 2 servos, only happens regarding this stick. It doesn't actually respect, like if I turn left, like I want to on here, it just goes 100% left. So it doesn't respect the internal mixings that I have set up for that channel. That was frustrating because I did want to fly a wing like this. I thought this would be a really cool way to sort of fly a wing FPV. Anyway, that's someone says like a head tracker. Yeah, I was speaking to Steve about that. Like, what would you use motion control for on a radio like this? For head tracking, I find it much easier. You would actually just use head tracking. I don't know. I just, it feels much more intuitive. If I was going to go to the effort of putting in a head tracking system, like that's a $500 or 500 Aussie, it's an expensive radio. So I'd just probably buy a head tracker if I was going to go down that route. I don't know. Can you think of a situation where you want to use motion control on a large radio like that? And I was like, maybe you want to put landing gear down. No, you just flick a switch. Like, we really struggled. The only time where we could think of was a very niche circumstance where you want to do head tracking, but you don't want to turn your head away from where you're looking, maybe because of the directional antennas, and you're going to lose video. So you would be able to then do that. But like, the chances of that happening are pretty, like, that's a very, very niche circumstance. Jeff is saying, I'd love to have you as a neighbor. It'd be so easy to pass by your house and check this setup before flying. That's where, no, it's not my house. That's where you need a friend like Stickman Steve, who, like, I was like, Steve, I actually need you to come over and double check this INAV setup, please. So a huge shout out to him. Let's, if everybody could write, Steve is an absolute legend. Without him, Stu wouldn't be flying. Or just Steve is a legend in the chat. Then I'll show him and say, hey, I won't show him this part, but I'll show him the chat part. Like, look how many people. Yeah, they really appreciate you, Steve. So tell me how much of a legend Stickman Steve is in the chat right now. It'll make his day. Let's see. Is the field you're flying at private or public? And it is where I'm flying at. I have permission to fly there. It's not open to the public, no. Let's see. Other YouTuber has an RC controller flying AR 900 motion control. Cos 1973 is saying, Steve is a legend. Steve has hands like a giant. That's from Chris Croft. And Jeff is saying, anyone from the Montreal area, by the way. Well, this is also, I hope you guys are using this, because always go over, check out the map. And then, wherever you are, what's going on here? I actually don't know where Montreal is in, but you've got a couple of pilots here. Send them some messages, not nearly as many as in the States. But yeah, go check it out. This is also why we built this feature of DIY FPV, is so you can connect with other pilots, click on their profile, send them a message, and hopefully you can meet up for a fly. Someone saying thanks for the invite. Check the map, yes. And Chris Croft is saying, I have a setup that uses the Radio Master MT. I think he's trying to say MT12. Is that what that is there? As a motion controller for the wing. Is that the surface radio? But hey, you got to check Montreal. Yeah, I don't know where Montreal is on the map. Like, can somebody tell me? Let's do a bit of geography right here. Crazy Rooster. There's a few of us up here. Montreal is about 7 hours east of Toronto. This is where I'm almost embarrassed to like understand. I know nothing about Canada. So yeah, you're just gonna have to it's almost a little bit embarrassing. And Trey's saying, "Hey Stu, I got a Chupito. I completely agree with the GPS thing. It's incredibly stupid. It's. I mean, if it was any other drone, we're so used to soldering, it just feels like a missed opportunity from TBS to be. It's not that it's dumb. It's just like it would have been awesome for them to like, yeah, we've done everything. No soldering. You're just ready to rock and roll. And the servo extensions don't have tabs. Yeah, I think it was there could have been a few like just little instructional things that would have made it a little bit easier. My stupidity combined with the lack of tabs caused me to fry one of my servos. Oh, that's not good. I did have to double check, and this is what I talk about in the manual of the Chupito, like flipping it over and understanding, like, oh, this is the voltage rail right here. But then in another picture, you're looking at something, it's up the other way because they're showing you where the GPS goes. And this is why I can't wait for the DIY FPV builder, which we are also working on. So we will be able to show you exactly how to build these things. You can put your components in here. This is, and I know people ask, when is this coming? This is still getting worked on. We have decided to do more work now, so it's less work in the future. So now there is things that it is sort of knowing exactly what goes where. So it can identify what this pad is, and this is a TX pad, and this is an RX pad, and this is a voltage. Versus before, you could sort of connect up different things. Now the software that we are building, the site will know what that pad is, which is fantastic. It's going to be it's really really cool. So that is also happening in the background, but that's why it's taking a little bit longer, because we're doing a lot of that hard work and figuring out that code to do that now, which is going to let us do some amazing, more advanced things in the future, rather than build it and then have to go back and redo everything again because we want to implement some new features. Um, Also, TBS makes it really hard to connect their own TBS Unify VTX. The lack of pads on the VTX and the flight controller combined with the lack of proper cables makes it really challenging to hook up an analog VTX. Yeah, that is probably something I didn't think about. And Jake says, Stu, RG Pilot is better than INAV, isn't it? Especially for autonomous missions. I don't know. I found trying to use RG Pilot, I can't confirm on autonomous missions, but the interface and actually just trying to get somebody flying was terrible. I'd rate it like a 2 out of 10. How do I know that? I love the hobby. I love FPV. I've spent a lot of time setting things up with other flight software. I was a teacher for over a decade that knows how people learn and engage with something and can use something. And RG Pilot, the way that it's set up, it might have amazing functionality and it can perform really, really well, but the actual interface and using that software and the intuitive of it, 2 out of 10. Just like why it doesn't have a simple modes tab slider and things like I don't know. It just was I hated it. So sorry to the dev there. You might have done some amazing work. I'm just purely critiquing this on somebody who's been in the hobby for 10 years, someone who's made educational content about drone flying and using that software, using other flight softwares, and an actual school teacher for 10 years. So as like my profession before this. So sorry, that's my problem with RG Pilot there, Jake. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I didn't enjoy it at all, and I would probably get really really frustrated, and it would keep me from flying. Um, Look, and Chris Crawford saying the configurator of RG Pilot is so bad and it hasn't changed in years. Okay. Let's have a look. And Cos1973 is saying the dark mode on DIY FPV is pretty cool. Now, I'm looking at the time. I want to mention a couple of things. So I got this comment actually, and this is about if you need glasses and what to fly, like what goggles should you be getting, because not everybody has 20/20 vision, and glasses are a major component. If you can't see, there is no point getting into FPV. I would be extremely frustrated, And I think it was in the discussions right here, one of the beginner questions. And if you're watching this after when it's not live, feel free to jump over to DIY FPV, put a question in right here. But this person, hey, I'm new to the hobby and getting started. I've done heaps of research, but I'm also struggling to work out what goggles to get as I wear glasses. I need them in VR, so I'm assuming I'll need them in FPV. I would say yes. The problem is, for me, it works fine with box goggles. You need to get maybe, there's sort of two schools of thought. You can get some special inserts made for some high-end goggles, but then the other alternative is getting a set of box goggles, which I don't like as much. I prefer flying with like the dual screen goggles, but a set of box goggles and putting a set of glasses inside them. So the difference is that, let's see if we can show you. Like a set of goggles like this. This is a, let's have a look at this screen. This is a box goggle. Now this is the Avatar Goggle L. So this is just one large screen in front of you. And if you can cram a pair of glasses in here, well, then you're probably going to be able to have a good time. This is where I would recommend the HD Zero Box Pros, I think they're called. Or is it HD Zero Goggle Box Pro or something? It's a little bit more expensive, but this right here, it has the option, and now I haven't actually tried these. It's a long story. Let's not get into that. But let's have a look at Phaser FPV because they sponsor this stream. So thank you very much to Phaser FPV. This is in Australian dollars right here as well. But you can actually get a little insert, I believe, that goes in here, which is made for your glass, not glasses, but like I don't know what you call it, your prescription levels or whatever it needs to be so you can focus. So that is also the option. So I can't talk about glasses in the high-end dual screen things like these. I mean, you can, these goggles do have parts where you can focus in and out and that sort of stuff, but I don't know if that's going to work for you. But there is also the option where you can get something like this and actually put an insert, or even I've seen some people glue in an old pair of glasses actually inside their box goggles so they can see. The other part that I also want to talk about is I had a question the other day and I said I was going to respond to it in this live stream. What about if you have a really wide IPD, and how does it go with field of view as well? So for me, I often always have to have my IPD adjustment. That's the distance between, I think it's called interpupillary distance maybe. So the distance between the two pupils. I often have to push mine way out to the side, maybe like a goldfish or something like that. And once it gets to that point, there's not too much you can do. Most goggles will have a slider and also a field of view. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Because there was a comment about, hey, I've got these goggles here. Is this one going to tell us about the field of view? Let's have a look. Let's go back. Let's go back to Phaser, and it should tell us the field of view somewhere here, like a 50-degree field of view. Is that too much? I find the field of view on something like the walk snail goggles or a large field of view in a set of goggles like this is not distracting. But if you have a really big field of view in a big box goggle, for me, that can feel quite distracting as well. And of course, it's going to feel different if you're using like big fisheye lenses or narrower lenses, all those sorts of things. Box goggles tend to be more disorientating and it's not as easy to fly. It looks great for cinematics and ride-alongs and things, but when you actually want to focus and see all the OSD and all the screens and everything like that, a smaller field of view is often a better thing, or you're not going to have the disadvantages that comes with some of those large box goggles where you'll have to look up here to see what your voltage is and those things. You can always move your OSD closer to the center of the screen. I don't have any issues when I'm using this one or like DJI, but some of the other larger goggles I have had that with. So that was a little question that somebody asked me about. Okie dokie. I'm just catching up here. This is from Funny Guys. You don't need to type the same comment like 4 times in a row there. Funny Guys, I'll answer the first one. Do you recommend the Lightning V2 for a beginner? I absolutely do. I love the Lightning V2. It is a perfect little starting craft. I have a backpack here. If we go over to DIY FPV, and this is the best value digital kit. This is what I would recommend if I was coming into the hobby for people to buy to get the best bang for the buck. And if you come down here, look at this, the only drone in here, it is the Lightning V2. I love it. It's fun. It's not intimidating. And if the worst happened and you actually crashed into somebody or like into a window or something, this has much less force than say like a 5-inch racing drone or a big freestyle drone with a GoPro or anything like that. It comes in a range of different options, receiver options, video options. You can even go analog. This is my recommendation. Go. I loved that drone. I still love that drone. Mr. FPV says, my EV200s I needed to cut up reading lenses, but my DJIs have perfect adjustment. Okay, that's good to know. And Green Thumb says, tiny whips are the best indoors and ducks protect your furniture. Yeah, you can't fly this drone inside. Don't be doing that. And Jake is asking, I guess this is probably like the end of the stream. We're about to wrap it up. We've got some interesting questions here, maybe getting a little bit off topic, but still like personal about my life. And he says, what's the strangest animal you've encountered in your yard? Probably a couple of months ago, there was an echidna just like walked into the garage. Just like this little, think of a little spiky hedgehog, but is way more cute with a little long snout that eats ants. And about this big, like the size of a football. He was pretty cool. It's pretty cute. So we just, I don't know. I don't know if you can relocate native animals, but he shouldn't have been living in my garage. And luckily, we have a nice big farmland. That, let's just say he walked over to the woodlands and farmlands and started hanging out there. Okay. Johnny DRC is into walks now all the way. First drone go Whoop Media 75 or 65. I love them. Yeah, it just depends what you want to do. If you've got the space, like if you have a yard that you can go and fly, I learned to fly with a 5-inch. There's nothing wrong with that. And then I went over and I also was really pumped to fly Whoops. I wanted to fly as much as I can. But if I could only get one, I would get the Lightning V2 as my beginner drone. Let's say I'm a kid who's working a part-time job on the weekend. I don't have heaps of cash to spare, but I'm going to save up to get an awesome system that I don't want to have to upgrade or just replace. The Lightning V2 would be my go-to drone. Cheap batteries, tons of fun, heaps of power. Feels like you're flying a much bigger craft than you actually are. Just all around can be in a range of different digital options. It's recommended. Okay. The final part, I did want to talk about 3D printing just a little bit, so I'm not too sure. A lot of people seem to say just get bamboo. I will probably talk about that next week. This is the most important part of the live stream, though, where sometimes things aren't always great and we can feel alone and we can feel isolated. Maybe you're feeling a little bit depressed or anxious or just things aren't going right for you. And I would like to say to those people, thank you for being here in this stream. You are valued. You are not alone. You are not isolated. You are always welcome to reach out. FPV is an amazing community and you are cared about. We all care about you here, and I'm very, very grateful to have you here watching this stream. And if you can hear this and some strange part is resonating with you, and you might not have heard someone say, hey, you know you are cared about, right? And you haven't really reflected it and you've just sort of dismissed it. And then you think, am I? Yeah, you are. So if this is resonating with you, if you are the one thinking you can't be talking to me, no, I am. And I'm letting you know that you are valued, you are cared about, you are unique, you are special. And no matter where you are, I'm really grateful that you are here. So thank you. All right. Other than that, guys, You have been amazing. I should have a video out in the next 2 days. I want to talk a little bit about the Warhawk sim as well. I had some other drone designs I wanted to speak about, as well as some 3D printers, but we've run a little bit out of time. Hope you had an amazing time. Go check out DIY FPV. Just like go put a post there. Like this is the important part now. I have built this incredible site for you to use. It's free. It is the site that I have always wanted for FPV. The only thing missing is you guys using it. It is ready. It is waiting. You need to be there. Go check it out. DIYFPV.com. I promise you, you are going to love it. And if you have a suggestion to make it even better, please, we have a little part that's like suggestions. Put it in there. It is going to change FPV in such a positive way that I feel like this will be my legacy of what I've done for this hobby. It's not like, I know I've made thousands of videos, but DIY FPV is going to help so many people. I'm stoked. So go check it out. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. I mean, maybe some other people in the chat will say what it's like as well. This is obviously I'm going to like my own website, but maybe some other people can put in the chat their experience with it and what they think about it as well. All right, guys, I will see you all next week. Oh, I'll see you soon, but I'll see you live next week. Huge shout out to if you're one of the members here or a patron. Thank you so much. It makes a huge difference to this channel as well. It's great to see those little people there. Spruny, Johnny DRC, like Roost. There's so many people in the UAVFutures family that are here week in, week out. And it really is great to see your names popping up here. Like I feel like we've got something special. So if you want to become part of the UAVFutures family and you find yourself here week in, week out, that little join button should be there somewhere on the YouTube page. Plus, you also get some bonus content, some extra videos just for those members only as well. So you get to go check that out. All right. Happy flying.